Joined by Ken Rodgers now, of course, a legend across the Saskatchewan golf community. Fresh on your retirement, AKR, right, from Acushnet, and maybe Titleist, people more know it as that. But we've talked about your playing career. You're in the Hall of Fame. How was retirement for the first few months, I guess?
First few months felt a lot like just like a regular summer. I played a golf tournament. I helped out our new rep with a couple of events that I always enjoy doing with our staff professionals and stuff. And so July was still pretty busy. My wife and I, our son had a grandchild in August in Calgary, so we spent some time out there, and then played in the Canadian Senior. So that was busy, and then ended up back up camping out in Calgary and Alberta and BC for 3.5 weeks in September and October. And so actually just the last month really has started to feel like I'm kind of at home and got all my chores done and kind of feeling pretty good, like I don't have anything to do today. Like it feels pretty cool.
Yeah, it sounds like a perfect start to it for sure. I want to obviously talk about your career, right? Yeah. And there's so many avenues with golf professionals in the industry, but retail's kind of an unsung hero of the industry. I guess how did you fall into that? Because obviously you're a great player, but just how do you get into the retailer and just have a career like you did?
It just kind of, your career kind of takes all these different twists and turns, and you don't quite know where you're going all the time. And I started off in university and really had a difficult time trying to find a real specialty in university that I wanted to do. So I decided to take a year off and ended up working in a sporting goods store. And within a year of me working there, they kind of asked me if I wanted to manage their new store that they were opening, and so Marathon Sports were kind enough to offer me a really good job working in Moose Jaw, managing a new sporting goods store. So I just kind of followed that path for a little while. I had thought about turning pro and becoming an assistant pro somewhere, and this job came up in Moose Jaw before the pro thing came around, and so I followed that path, and then I started meeting reps that came in, would come and see me and call on me, and I really just thought that's something I would like to do, and like the freedom and the independence of that type of work, and like meeting people, get along well with people, and so just found my first rep job doing Dow hockey skates up in northern Alberta, and then worked my way back to Saskatchewan and ended up working with TaylorMade and Fletcher Leisure Group, which was Sun Ice and Adams and Ashworth, and then eventually my dream job with Titleist for 17 years or 16 and a half years. And so it was an awesome career, just loved it, loved every step of the way, raised a family, played some golf along the way. And so it's just you kind of, you make decisions along the way and you make turns here and there and change careers and stuff, but overall it's been really, really successful and just couldn't be happier.
I'm a firm believer in everything happens for a reason. Now that you've kind of maybe the last month really had a chance to reflect back and kind of what's been flashing through your mind. You're here at the Royal Regina and obviously a lot of friends here and whatnot, but it's just the people. Is that kind of what you just kind of been thinking about the last month or so?
Like the golf show was always a big thing in late October, and so I would often head up to that, and it's always a little bit of not anxiety, but just it's a big deal. You're seeing a lot of customers, and you're writing a lot of orders, and so there's a lot of preparations needed leading up to it and during, and so I always feel a little stressed around the golf show. So I kind of around the golf show this year was like, I wonder how they're doing up there.
Yeah, definitely missed you. You got a young your replacement, right? And we're going to feature him on the Golf Saskatchewan YouTube. I'm going to catch up with him, but sounds like you're high on him, and all the clients that you've helped build will be looked after.
Max is awesome. He's a young guy, 24 years old, comes from golf DNA. His dad's a golf pro. Spent the last 3 years doing fittings for us in Alberta, so he's miles above me in the fitting skill set. But he's very personable and knows the business through his dad and just through his work with fitting and stuff. So he'll do great. Like he's raring to go and got tons of energy and likable young guy. And so he's going to be a superstar.
For sure. You kind of look back on your golf game a little bit, and playing is good, right? But there was a lot of things you supported. Are you going to miss that as well? Your name was attached to a couple of events and all that stuff.
And actually, funny you ask that, because just in the last week, Dr. Randy Gilowich and John Greeno and I have kind of, Randy in particular, because he was the major financial sponsor for the Regina City Amateur, we've handed over the reins to Zaba Financial Group and the Zaba family, and they're going to do a great job running it from here forward. It's kind of passing the torch, and so we're looking forward to that, because Tyler and Mitch and Brian will do a great job. They've been a part of the Regina City Amateur for the last several years, helping out financially and playing in it, of course. And Andy plays as well. And so, yeah, no, it couldn't be a better transition for that. And so, yes, I loved helping out with it. But it is time. It's kind of time to. John's got a young family. Randy's thinking about retirement at some point here. I just retired, so it's kind of time to hand the torch, and just couldn't hand it to a more perfect situation.
Yeah, the Zabas are great for sure. Lastly, talk about just quickly, how the equipment has kind of changed, especially golf clubs, right? For those little persimmon woods to what we're hitting now. What did you kind of notice over your 20 years or so?
I think stainless steel to titanium was one of the biggest jumps I've seen, and then probably the ability to do multi-material irons, tungsten weighted irons, that kind of thing, where you wouldn't have to increase the size of the iron or the size of the cavity in order to create a larger sweet spot. And so you get these great looking irons that are super forgiving and very playable, and just nice to look at. Like, it's just the quality of the equipment these days is so good. It's expensive, but it's beautiful stuff, and still need to get fitted. You can't just buy it off the rack. I think you still need to kind of get fitted, and doesn't cost any extra, so why wouldn't you? And stuff's expensive, so no, I think the equipment today is amazing, and there'll be more stuff coming out, new golf balls, new clubs, new putters along the way, but.
Yeah, it's not even technology, it's the equipment. You just look inside the railroad right now, the 4 bays and the screens of TrackMan and all that. How has that changed your game?
TrackMan's incredible. Like for years and years and years, we just did it essentially by sight. You could tell a ball it was spinning too much or not spinning enough. But these days, you can see club path, you can see the face, you can see the launch angle and the spin rate and this ball speed, and oh my gosh, it's so incredible. It's just people can really get dialed in. You can maybe get a little too into it at times, I think, but no, it's a great tool. And just along there's a lot of other good tools as well, but TrackMan and launch monitors are amazing.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you meeting again here, Ken. We'll see you next year, I believe. Well, Chinook for sure for the seniors. Hopefully, the amateurs in Humboldt might see you there. But from Golf Saskatchewan, a great career in the province for what you did for our game.
Awesome. Thanks, Clark. Really appreciate it.